Well. I guess the big glowing lizard is back on the channel. Oh, no, not you, Goji. Shoo, get out of here.
Firstly, who are the blood dragons? Well, blood dragons are huge, compared to humans, heavily armored, bioengineered reptiles, measuring 8 meters in length, 3 in height, and 5 if standing upwards. They are carnivores, mainly eating robotic soldiers, though they wouldn't refuse some regular meat. They glow in different colors: green meaning they are passive, yellow meaning they are curious or investigating, red, you're about to die. They have little horns on their heads. That's all. Because of their bioluminescence, constantly, it will be pretty obvious and easy to spot these big bastards, especially at night. I was wrong. Very wrong. In Far Cry Primal, the game set in prehistoric times. In one of the games, you encounter this: a blood dragon skeleton with its eggs. It might be an Easter egg, but if you think more, this game takes place in prehistory. The blood dragons are not bioengineered. They lived for thousands of years, or possibly even millions of years. The true lore of them is truly a mystery. If they weren't made by humanity, the scientists, then where did they come from? Why do they shoot lasers out of their eyes? I highly doubt that these questions will be answered. My theory is this: the blood dragons were actually dinosaurs that survived the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs. And maybe the destruction gave these creatures the powers? The atomic powers, radiation? These questions will not be answered. The blood dragons are terrifyingly strong, effortlessly tossing humans like pebbles, the tails being strong enough to drag giant yetis. They smash vehicles apart and send humans flying with backaches. Now, you could use this as a game mechanic or a strength feat, but in the game, the dragons can push aside any vehicle, even the biggest ones, like the trucks. Now, this part was easy, because you can actually measure the speed of literally anything in the game using these measure blocks. Now, the best part. One thing I always say about the blood dragons is that they can almost tank anything. Almost. Arrows, bullets, rockets, and even mortar shots are effortless if you don't aim for the weak spot on its chest. Though, the slight weakness, blunt force like larger weapons like helicopter machine guns, or a better tactic, ram it with a vehicle. What kind? The biggest truck you can find. Sigh. Long story short, meh. There isn't a clear way to see how intelligent blood dragons are, but they do understand some things. Blood dragons are social animals. Some may wander around aimlessly alone, but most of them stick into groups and lay eggs together. At least in the game they lay, And also, blood dragons are attracted by mega shields deactivating or sensing cyber hearts of Mark V cyber commandos, aka robot soldiers. And also, blood dragons are extremely aggressive to other non-blood dragons, but their aggressive nature can actually be controlled. Such thing that the Omega Force actually managed to do using brain cages. Now, the controversial part. You are very welcomed to try and find out their weight, because you will automatically say that the blood dragons are at least 5, 7, or 8 tons, which is understandable. But games do not tend to be realistic. If you play games, you don't want them to be realistic, you want them to be fun. If you want realism, go outside, touch grass. Blood dragons are huge, bulky, their scales insanely durable. They can push aside multi-ton trucks. You would call me a dumbass, but so be it. My guess for their weight would be 17 tons or more. Maximum 20.
I was out of the house at 21. 21?
If they didn't have armor, they would of course be much more lighter, but animals that have thick armor are much more heavier than expected. And again, this is a video game, not realism, so shut the fuck up. Fun part! Now, this part is actually made of abilities and powers. So, the main thing about these blood dragons is obvious. They're bioluminescent, that word, colors. Even their blood is powerful. Yes, you heard me, their blood. Or blood dragons. The main villain of Far Cry 3, Blood Dragon. I don't goddamn know that name. I don't know. Cybernetics were supercharged by drinking the blood dragon's blood. But sometimes the blood could be unpredictable. You could either get hyper genius intelligence, experience massive rapid muscle growth, or worse, your balls can fall off. I'm serious. That's a quote in the goddamn game. Obviously, the blood dragons can shoot atomic lasers strong enough to vaporize humans, although they do take a few shots to damage and destroy vehicles. Fun fact! The scales on their back indicate how much health the blood dragon has remaining, and when eating, they can regenerate their health. You can hurt them so much that the only one scale is remaining glowing, but if you let them go eat, that's a big mistake, because all of the health will be regenerated. What? They probably won't be able to effectively regenerate while fighting, because, their opponent wouldn't let them peacefully eat. Do a flip. Oh, yeah, right. They aren't so agile. In reality, heavily armored animals like the Ankylosaurus or armadillos aren't so agile. Well, in their case, most of the armor is on their backs, while the blood dragon, their armor is all over their body. Although they can leap, dash, and move remotely fast, they haven't shown any impressive agility, at least for now. Blood dragons are quadrupeds, being able to stand on their back legs, although not being able to walk on them, only on all fours. They also can kick with their back legs like a horse. They have 3 fingers on their hands and feet, but no thumbs. But they can still grab you quite effectively. Their heads are thick and blocky. They possess little horns on their heads. That's all. There are 3 different designs, variants of the blood dragon. Easy mode. Only the body, tail, and back scales are glowing. This variant is easiest to kill. Green scales. Normal mode. Back, tail, and underbelly are glowing. Dark scales. And hard mode. Gosh, the whole body glows, and this thing is the hardest to kill. Reddish scales. The blood dragon on the cover art of the game shows a purple color, although sadly, such thing does not exist in any of the games. There's also the unique horned dragon, one of the mission mini-bosses you can encounter. which is meant to be a much more powerful specimen of the blood dragon. Although it doesn't seem so powerful. But if a regular blood dragon extremely diffs the Skullcrawler, the unique horn dragon would probably take care of the Skullcrawler much easily. Effective ways to kill this guy? Huh. Well, being such armored and heavy animals, the dragons cannot swim, they are vulnerable to great heights and brute blunt force. The cannon and literal weakness of the blood dragon are their weak spots, the purple area on their chest. Shooting that part would kill the dragon with a pistol. You could do that. Good luck trying to accurately shoot it. And also, it's opposite for the weak spot. Instead of blunt force, it requires piercing power, as a bullet would deal much more damage than a locket. What? If you are thinking of trying to kill the dragon and trying to use its scales or skeleton as weapons or armor, huh? Don't mean to disappoint you, but sadly for you, whenever a blood dragon dies, it explodes. Luckily for you, it's not a harmful explosion, more of just a firework. But it still doesn't make sense how the is there a skeleton in the goddamn game? What the In the original game, Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, the canon one, poor eyesight, excellent hearing, lore accurate. Far Cry 5 Arcade, much more dangerous, much better eyesight, and nothing else is really much different. And the last one, Unique Horn Dragon, from the third game of course, has more health, more dangerous, but sadly, there isn't much information about it. But also, in the strange sequel to Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, Trials of the Blood Dragon, it is revealed that the Blood Dragons are actually intelligent species who call themselves... If you are wondering why I never brought anything like this up in the previous videos, well, because firstly, I never knew that this game damn existed.
Yet again, I was wrong. There is another variant. It has no name, no information, no nothing. So I had to take matters into my own hands. Remember the skeleton? Well, this is the size of a regular blood dragon. Now this is the size of the primal blood dragon. Regular blood dragon is 9 meters long, while this giant is 13 meters long, far bigger than a truck, bigger than a mammoth. If a regular blood dragon is this deadly, imagine the power of this ancient primal blood dragon. This ancient dragon would have obviously be more durable, more stronger, deadlier, and heavier. I apologize for not bringing this up in the previous videos, because you only encountered this skeleton once in Far Cry Primal, and I have never thought examining it in Far Cry Arcade. My theory is this: blood dragons were an ancient species. Perhaps they were intelligent, but maybe their intelligence slowly drifted to raw power. Regular blood dragon is an equal match to the juvenile skullcrawler. Unique horn dragon would have a better chance against the skullcrawler, while the ancient blood dragon would wipe the floor with the skullcrawler and wipe out the whole Jurassic World franchise, including the Distortus.
And the skeleton itself. If a regular blood dragon explodes when it dies, why does this one remain? And given the point that Far Cry Primal takes place in Europe, and in the Cretaceous period, Europe was underwater. And then the eggs. Imagine the pure horror that the unprepared humans had to endure when facing high numbers of these monsters. It's still hard to understand how blood dragons weren't brought up in any other games. The time from Far Cry Primal and Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon is roughly over 22,000 year difference. And it could also be the point that Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon takes place in a different universe of 2007 than any other previous Far Cry games. I know all of this is confusing. I know. Given the release date and the design of the Blood Dragon, they were most likely inspired by Godzilla. I mean, look at the similarities. Lizard, lizard. Atomic powers, radioactive powers. Glowing, glowing. Need more? Need more? No, no. So, all of this discussed. Blood dragons are as durable as tanks, almost 30 kilometers per hour fast, average animal intelligence. They don't truly act intelligent. They can regenerate, kind of. Extremely good hearing, but extremely poor eyesight, able to shoot atomic lasers, and are cave dwellers. At least they lay eggs in the caves. Their width is unknown and could be more than expected. They cannot swim nor survive falling from high up. In summary, the blood dragons are building level threats at most, and small building levels at least, in the same power as the Skullcrawler, the Stosaurus Rex, or King Kong. Being in this power level, their only downside for the blood dragon is its size. It is much smaller than the Stosaurus Rex, but would deal some damn good damage to the distorted king. So, what's your thoughts on this? Do you think I got something wrong? Let me know in the comments below. And see y'all in the next video, in which there will be some big dinosaur rumbling. Roar. Monsters. Is it really monstrous to want to live? Yes, the blood dragons attack anything, but that's just how they evolved. If they truly lived for millions of years, they've had to face terrifying threats. Dinosaurs, sauropods, mammoths, all of those things. So they slowly started to have a mindset to kill everything before it kills them. It's not their fault that they are monsters. They're only animals that survive for millions of years and still continue to survive. Justin's out. Bye bye!